Ladies and gentlemen, this is Joe's Classic Video Games, back with another fantastic arcade game video for you this evening. Got one here you don't see too often. This is the awesome arcade game version of Nintendo's Duck Hunt. Now, back in the 80s, Nintendo released the Famicom system in Japan, which had the famous games that we all know. And then it released the Nintendo system in America, the Nintendo Entertainment System, and then they also released the arcade versions of a lot of the same games. So this is the arcade version of Versus Duck Hunt. They called it Versus because that's what they called their system back then. Basically, you could convert it from one game to another to another to another. That they sent these little chipsets out with, and these little kits, and you could make it one game or another. And that's just what they called their system. So it's called Versus Duck Hunt. It's the arcade version. Same great music though. So we'll check it out a little bit. So what this game would have started out life as is a Donkey Kong. It's obviously a Donkey Kong. Check out that cool blue. Now it could have been a Popeye or something like that, but there were a lot more Donkey Kongs than Popeye. So I'm going to guess that it was a Donkey Kong. There's something here that kind of suggests that too. You see these three bolts on the side right there? That's to hold the bracket that holds the monitor in horizontally. And then on the back there are these two bolts here. That was for the bracket that held the Donkey Kong monitor in vertically. So if you've got those two little holes, it was probably a Donkey Kong. A lot of people say that the Donkey Kongs didn't come with these three that make the monitor mount horizontally, but every one I've ever had all five. So I think I had a Popeye though that had these three and didn't have the other two, but I don't remember for sure. But this was probably a Donkey Kong. Oh, you know what? I think I confirmed it earlier. Let me look on the back here. Oh, it's not on there. A lot of times there's a little plate that goes on it that'll tell you what the game was originally, so you can always look on that. But I believe it's a Donkey Kong. I think we found something inside of it or something that led us to believe. Oh yeah, we did. Love that song. There were the little mounting brackets for the PCB board were still inside. So it was originally a Donkey Kong, which is a safe bet anyways. If you see a blue one, it was probably a Donkey Kong. So anyway, it started out as a Donkey Kong, and then a few years went by. Donkey Kong came out, I believe, in 1981. A few years went by, and it wasn't making as much money anymore. So they converted it with this system. So Nintendo released this 1985, right? And basically it was just a little kit you could buy and turn one of their cabinets, or any cabinet really, but they made a specific kit for their Nintendo cabinets, like Donkey Kong, Donkey Kong Jr., Popeye, Mario Brothers, where you could turn it into a Versus system. So it came with side art like this, and it came with a bunch of wiring that was really easy to install. You just plugged it into the existing wiring that was in the cabinet. And it came with a new control panel like this that just popped right on and connected to your brand new wiring harness. And it came with a sign for the top that said Duck Hunt if you bought the Duck Hunt kit. And then you put in a new board, and now it played Duck Hunt instead of Donkey Kong. So these are kind of the cool ones. They made several versions. This thing was incredibly successful. You find Versus systems all the time. There were dedicated cabinets. We'll be filming one of those soon, actually. Stay tuned on our channel. We got one of those in that we're working on right now. But there were dedicated one monitor cabinets like this. There were the kits for the Nintendo cabinets like this. There was a kit to put specifically in Pac-Man cabinets that we get every once in a while. And then you could also put the kit in just a generic cabinet, just anything that you had. And then there were even two monitor versions where there are huge cabinets called the dual system that had two monitors, so you could play 4-player games like tennis and golf, things like that. If you guys are familiar with a lot of this Nintendo stuff, you've probably seen all of that. There was what they called the red tent cabinet, which was like a cocktail cabinet that had two monitors opposite each other. So they just made a ton of different cabinets that these same kits could all be installed in. And it was very successful for them. But this is just a cool duck hunt one that we were able to get our hands on. Now the gun here usually mounted a little differently. There was a holster that kind of wrapped around this and went down the front, and the gun would sit in the front, and then the cable would go in through where the second player joystick goes. This is the first player joystick. There was another joystick here. The cable would go in there. This one's been modified because those holsters are pretty hard to find, because the gun games, they didn't, I don't know if there's just not as many of them around or what, but so what they've done on this one is put like a more traditional holster on the top, and then they've ran the line actually down through one of the buttonholes. But it seems to be on there pretty good. Everything looks good from underneath, so we left it. It looks nice. And plus, we'd probably play hell trying to get that holster. So, but works good. These had an alarm on them. If you rip that gun off, like if you break that chain and pull it off, it would make this big, loud buzzing noise that's built into the board. It would tell the board, hey, if this line gets disconnected, start making all kinds of noise. So the board will just go and make a big, loud, crazy noise. So if you ever get one of these, like a duck hunt or a Hogan's Alley, which was another popular shooting one for this one, for this system, and you're testing the board and you don't have the gun plugged in, if you hear this crazy noise, it doesn't mean anything is wrong with the board. It just has figured out that the gun's not plugged in, and it's trying to alert the operator to come check it out because they're being too rough on the machine. So the arcade version was a little harder than the home version. Basically, they were trying to make money, so they wanted it to be hard, so you'd have to put another quarter in. I like the art. But the only instructions you have are, it's a simple game. Everybody's played it. How to play. Hunting game, shoot flying ducks. Clay shooting game, shoot the clay target. You get 3 shots per screen. And it's pretty much just like the home version, but in my estimation, a little bit harder. So what I'll do is I'll grab the tripod and set it up, and we'll play it a little bit, and we'll see if I can even get to the second screen. Be back in a second. There he is. Look at that jerk. People always hated the dog, I guess because he's giggling at you so much. Duck hunt. I just noticed it doesn't say versus on the title screen. Most of the versus games say versus Super Mario Brothers or whatever. Alright, so we'll try playing it a little bit. One thing about this game, it's hard. Man, this ain't easy. And I got the camera in the way a little bit too, so I'm giving you all my excuses up front for why I'm not going to do too good. But we'll try it out. Let me see if I can get some quarters on it. Alright, now, interesting to note, on this game you don't use any of the buttons or anything on the control panel. You just shoot the screen. So you just pick one player or two player by shooting the box, and then whenever you put in your initials, you do the same thing. You shoot these little boxes, and of course you shoot the gun, the ducks. Uh-huh. Well, I'm pretty good. The accuracy on this gun is amazing. Whoop. Try not to knock over the camera. Yeah! Now I die. Nothing. This game cheats, by the way. Look at him. on, bro. And then you lose your quarter. It's as simple as that. So you go over to your letter and you shoot the middle. So I'm in like 5th place. Okay. Let's see if I can do better this time. 3 shots per screen. They get faster as it goes on. And then I'm in trouble. I was trying to get to something. Ooh. I was trying to get to something a little different than the home version. See how I missed those each time? Like I did the last time too. Those same ones. I think they're cheating. Oh. Well, there we go, folks. I was trying to get to something a little different than the home version, but it's too tough. But there you are. That's the Versus Duck Hunt arcade game. Really good looking game. Like the cabinet's cool, the artwork's cool, very iconic, but it's hard. It is tough. Because the reason they made the arcade versions a little harder is because they wanted to make money, you know. So like, if it was a little harder, you had to put more quarters in. The home version, they wanted you to be happy with your purchase, so they made it a little easier, so you could do a little better on it. And plus, you could cheat by getting right on the TV. You know, everybody knows you were doing that. But there you go. That's Versus Duck Hunt. Now, by the time you see this video, Nintendo's cool, super cool, classic 1985 Versus Duck Hunt may have flown off to somebody else's house where they're practicing with it. But that's cool. Just check out our website. We've got pictures of all of the games that we do have available right now, and we may still have this one when you see this video, on our website. Go to lionsarcade.com. Or you can stop by and see us in person here down in Rock Hill, South Carolina. We're about 15 minutes south of Charlotte, North Carolina. And we've got a showroom here just full of arcade games, pinball machines, jukeboxes, stuff like that for sale. We're always working on them. But maybe you don't live local, and maybe you're not interested in buying one. Well, that's fine too. We welcome all types here on our YouTube channel. Just subscribe below, click the button, and every time we film one of these videos, it will let you know. And we will see you on the next video, folks.